Welcome to Deakin Stadium, home of Canberra FC for the PlayStation 4 NPL Final Series. It's Canberra Olympic versus the Edgeworth Eagles. It's the ACT versus Northern New South Wales. I'm Russ Gibbs, your commentator for this one this evening. Joining me in commentary is Steve Forshaw, head coach of the Belconnen United Under-18s team that won their grand final this year. Welcome, Steve. NPL Final Series time, always a good time of year.
Yeah, congratulations to both teams to getting this far. I mean, obviously, both teams have shown a level of consistency that they'll want to bring onto the pitch tonight. They've both finished top of their local competition. Should be a good game as a result.
Plenty of goals between these sides this season. Canberra Olympic scored 66 in winning their league in 18 matches. The Edgeworth Eagles scored 42 in 20 matches in the Northern New South Wales, as we see the teams walking out onto the field. Something to note, though, perhaps, Steve, is that Edgeworth Eagles only conceded 14 goals this season. That's the best defence in their competition by at least 6 goals. And head coach Damien Zane has got a really strong defensive lineup.
Yeah, well, obviously, the side that Olympic have put out today with 3 creative players in midfield, and I'm sure you'll go through that a bit later on, Russ, but they'll be looking to break that down as often as they can, whilst keeping the back door shut themselves. So, interesting sort of matchups. We don't know a lot about the team from Northern New South Wales, but they do have some A-League experience in their lineup, so we can expect them to come out and give us a real test.
Yeah, we'll do our best to identify all the teams and the players out there this afternoon. We're looking at the Canberra Olympic side first. Angelo Constantinu will be in goal. Tim Bobolis, Jackson Clement McNee, Bernard Brenet and Dimitri Paraskos in their back four. Daniel Colbertaldo, Robbie Catanach, Stephen Dominici in a more withdrawn midfield role. Michael Reeve, Jordan Sekenis and Josh Gillespie in their front three. Changes galore for Frank Keisha, and his defence has been decimated a bit this week. They've lost 3 or 4 players, and they have young Jackson Clement McNee coming in at centre-back and Dimitri Paraskos, who played in a holding midfield role in the under-20s final at left-back.
Yeah, it's obviously not ideal preparation for Olympic, but it does give an opportunity to some of the younger players that are coming through their pathway. So win, draw, or loss, those boys will benefit from the experience, but it does make it a little bit more difficult for the under-strength Olympic side.
Edgeworth Eagles, who lost the Northern New South Wales Grand Final to Lambton Jaffers 2-0 after extra time last week. They line up with Josh Lowe in goal, in for Nate Cavalieri, who played with a broken finger in the Grand Final last week. He's gone for an operation, so he's unavailable today, and Josh Lowe comes in goal. Their back four is Domenico Bizzari, Pat Wheeler, the captain Josh Evans, and Aidan Bryce. Their midfield three has Lachlan Pasquale and Dylan Holtz in a holding role, with Keanu Moore just ahead of them, Will Bauer, Kieran Sanders either side of Daniel McBreen up front, the former Hyundai A-League Golden Boot.
Yeah, it looks a powerful side on paper, doesn't it? McBreen brings, as I was saying before, the A-League experience. I don't expect him to be sort of bombing around all over the park as he used to do in his heyday, but he will be a constant threat to an inexperienced Olympic back four.
Well, they are missing Brodie Taylor today, who was one of their standout players during the season. The forward who scored 8 goals in 23 appearances, very quick and pacey guy. He's actually on holiday, so he's unable to play today. Maybe he's watching the game wherever he is. We're underway here, and we're hoping for a decent match this afternoon, and it's Edgeworth Eagles in the red shirts. Attacking the goal to our left from the kickoff. Bizzari goes back to Lowe. First touch for the keeper, and he's under pressure already from Joshua Gillespie, and it's a goal kick, and Olympic straight away pressing the Edgeworth back four.
Yeah, I mean, if that's a sign of things to come, then we can expect the Olympic to push on and press really high and try and win the ball high up the park, and with a little bit of luck, break down that very solid back four, reputationally at least anyway.
First on ball forward, looking for Sanders, who brings it down. Appeal for handball against the forwards. Nothing given. And Edgeworth onto the attack for the first time. Catanach is back to tidy up. Bit of pressure at the back there. And McBreen closes it down. It comes off the former Central Coast Mariners striker for a throw. A lot on that Canberra Olympic midfield today, Steve, with Colbertaldo, Catanach and Dominici. 3 very good ball players in the centre of the park. And
the bulk of them in the Olympic experience resides with those 3. And both teams coming off grand final losses last week, they'll be looking psychologically to get themselves back up, as well as play the game to the best of their ability.
Here's Boa. Finding Bizzari. Looks for the run forward of Keanu Moore. You can't keep it in play. Obviously, we don't get to see a lot of Edgeworth down here, but from the reports that we've got coming in, they're a very tidy side.
I should imagine so, because Newcastle traditionally is a very, very strong place for football. So you wouldn't expect that their local champions would be anything other than competitive.
As a ball looking for Sanders, but it's gone all the way through to Angelo Constantinou. And he gives Parascos an early touch, and the youngster can't get that one under control, and it'll be a throw which Aidan Bryce will get on with.
Certainly going to be incumbent upon the experienced players in Olympic to settle the younger players down.
Here's Boa, and he's got into the penalty area. Chance perhaps for Edgeworth. Swings it across on the far post. McBreen came in but couldn't get a telling touch, and it's out for a goal kick. But early warning signs for Olympic, and Will Boa on this near side looks a handful. Yeah,
Timmy Bobbles done like a dog's dinner in his first exchange with the winger. And they might just have escaped one there, because I think Angelo might have got a touch on that.
Constantine's going to take the goal kick. Wind blowing across Deakin Stadium, but a reasonable afternoon. That's won by Reeve. Almost a first touch for Dominici, and Kadnach lifts that one forward looking for Gillespie, and Bryce is back there to cover. Pressure from Joshua Gillespie. Highly rated youngster, but Bryce has done well. Looking for Holtz, but he's lost possession, and here's Dominici. Out wide for Gillespie, crossing opportunity perhaps. Comes back to Colbertaldo. And here's Bernard Brenet, played left back last week until he was drafted into the middle. That's a great ball in the middle. Real chance for Gillespie, and across defending was Pat Wheeler, and he needed to be on his toes. And Edgeworth can bring this one away. Half a chance there for a moment for Gillespie, and here's McBreen looking to flick it over the top, and a chance for Boa. Across goes Parascos and defends well, but open start to the game. Yeah,
interesting start, exciting start. The chances of both ends, half chances of both ends. Olympic will be encouraged by that last foray forward, where they got Gillespie on the ball just on the edge of the box, just failed to control it, but it was good signs.
Long throw looking for McBreen, he chests it down. Shooting chance perhaps on the edge of the penalty area. Instead they come to this side with Boa, back to Bizzari. Boa again, lots of touches early on for the left-hand sided player, and he swings that one in, wins the first corner of the match.
Yeah, better defending by young Timmy Boblis there. Got into his, made this winger look at the ball, made the crossing angle narrow, and they've ended deflecting out for a corner.
Already we can see though that Edgeworth come here meaning business. They stayed overnight at the Novotel. I presume they're staying again tonight. They may be travelling straight back. I didn't ask their head coach Damien Zane before kick-off.
They might be looking for a night out at the Wallabies, Russ.
Or maybe they will. Game on later on tonight in Canberra. There's this corner swung in towards the far post, unmarked. It's chipped back into the penalty area. Holtz heads it goalwards. Real chance for McBreen here, but the flag goes up against the striker, and Constantinou poured it away anyway, but chance for the Edgeworth for a second there.
Yeah, a little sneaky one, but Olympic did well. They pushed out quickly and caught McBreen offside. Good defending. Especially when you consider that the organisation at the back would have been interrupted as a result of the changes they've had to make. So they've done well there.
And Frank Keisha missing Callum Beaton, Nathan Medjic, Victor Yanez, Nick Bobolas, Josh Calabria and Phil Yarnell from his lineup there, and an amazing amount of experience there too.
It wouldn't be Callum Beaton, it would probably be Callum Smith.
Callum Smith even. I say Callum Beaton, I saw him last week at the final. Cal Smith, of course, who was training with the Futsal Roos. He's been unlucky with injuries quite a lot, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, he's done the ligaments in his knee twice, hasn't he, this year?
The same knee as well, I believe, unfortunately for the young lads.
Got a feel for him, haven't you?
Yeah, very talented footballer, and we're hoping to see Cal Smith back on the field very soon. Be next season, of course. His teammates here looking to break down Edgeworth. It's been fairly even so far. Robbie Kadnach is lining up this free kick. Deeper this week.
I do think teams that have an A-League franchise in the geographic area are advantaged because they can call on ex-A-League players to strengthen their squads, whereas Canberra, Hobart, Northern Territory, they don't have that luxury.
The Holt swings that one down the wing, looking for the run. I think that's Sanders over on that far side, and he's won himself a throw. It's difficult to see the numbers on the back with the sun shining over there. Usually in our face, commentating from the other side at this venue. Another long throw into the area, headed clear. And Aidan Bryce will line this one up again. The right fullback. Decent throw on him. As I say that, he comes back to Pasquale. It's Bryce again. And Parascos Takes it off his toes.
The Eagles very conscious of the ability of Olympic to break. They're actually, the rest defence is comprehensive.
It's McBreen flicking it across into the penalty area. Chance here, it's bouncing around, and Constantinu has to come out and collect. But again, another warning for Canberra Olympic. Good ball flicked on by McBreen, looking for the runners. That one's sent long, looking for Gillespie, and that's a good header back by the skipper, Josh Evans. Here is Evans to Bizzari. Sends a ball into the channel. Boa's got in behind, but the flag's gone up. So offside. Both sides looking for that early ball forward, looking to catch the opposition defence unawares.
It was a tactic that Olympic tried to employ last week against Belconnen in the grand final, but we saw Finn Durack in the Belconnen goal sweeping very effectively behind the back four.
Well, Jackson Clement McNee played in the under-20 grand final last week, and he unfortunately scored an own goal. And here he finds himself on the national stage due to their injury crisis.
Great opportunity to set the record straight then.
Rene. Not much movement ahead of him, so he has to find Paraskas, who can't keep it in play. A little bit sloppy from Canberra Olympic early on.
He's had a shaky start, the young fullback, but he'll come good.
Bryce comes in field this time to Evans. He finds Bizzari. Good ball towards the far post, looking for McBreen, who stuck a left foot out of that and didn't make contact, but it was a raking ball in from Domenico Bizzari from left back, and Daniel McBreen had got away from his marker again, and that's 2 or 3 times he's threatened already in the opening 10 minutes or so. Yeah,
seen a different quality of striker than Olympic are probably used to in Daniel McBreen. He might not be in his heyday anymore, but his movement's still very clever.
He scored 4 goals in 18 appearances this season. He's not their leading goal scorer. The leading goal scorer is Kigo Moriyasu, who scored 9 goals. He's on the bench today, which is interesting. So he's obviously a bit of impact coming from the forward there. We expect to see him a little bit later on. There are other substitutes for Edgeworth today. Edgeworth today are Adam Corley, Aaron Opadesano, Aaron McLaughlin, and the sub-goalkeeper Kai Abrahams. Here's McBreen getting in beside Rene, who gets back to challenge. Has to be careful here, and Clement McNee can swing that one forward. Olympic worked that one out. But Bryce has come in, robbed by Michael Reeve, who's not really been in it so far, but that's a better ball. Looking for Dominici. Sekenes, who scored off the bench in the grand final last week. Dominici again. Boa read that one. Got a foot in, but they've given the ball straight back to Olympic. Dominici's looking for some movement. Has to go back to Bernard Rene. Cagey start. And again, they've given the ball away, and that's a little bit nervy, this back four at the moment for Olympic, as you'd expect.
They do look a little disjointed across the park. They just need 10 or 15 minutes to work themselves into the game.
Here's Pasquale looking for Boa. He's got away again. Constantinu's come. Is Boa in? He's round the goalkeeper. Chance here for Edgeworth. Pulls it back. Defending was good at the near post by Bobolis. And Colbertaldo could complete the clearance, but he's given it away to Holtz. And Canberra Olympic can't get out here, and it's Boa again. Lots of space on this side. Bobolis has to get a bit closer to this winger. Looking to chip it into the penalty area towards the far post, and it should be comfortably dealt with by Paraskas. But a real chance for Eagles again there. Yeah. And Boa once again showing his pace.
Yeah, he's just getting far too much room down this left-hand side, and Constantinu committed himself, was easily beaten, but thankfully Timmy Bobolis got back to defend at his near post and rescued the situation. Well done, Timmy Bobolis.
But very impressive stuff from the Eagles in attack. Is Holtz, I think that is. Olympic can bring it clear. It's a little bit scrappy when they're going forward at the moment for the hometown team, and Edgeworth have settled quite nicely.
They look at a very, very well organised outfit in this early stages. Some of the ball movement's good, getting in between lines, keep possession well, make good decisions. You've got to give them credit. Evans
finds Bizzari, clips the ball into the penalty area. Rene heads it up into the air. It's going to fall for Moore, who's challenged by Colbertaldo. Nodded forward by Pasquale, and Bizzari wins a corner. I think that went out for a throw or a corner. I couldn't really see down in that left-hand side. I think it's just a throw-in.
Yeah.
Which Bizzari will take. Well, Bryce has got a long one from the other side. This one not quite so long, but looking for the head of McBreen, who flicks it back. Volleyed goalwards by Sanders. And that's just wide as well. Good effort, ambitious from the English striker, but 4 goals in 19 appearances this season, and big raps on this boy.
Took him a good spot there. Olympic have got to be a little bit more vigilant in and around that penalty area. The too much room on the edge of the box is going to be costly if they don't close that down.
Well, Colbertaldo gets the short goal kick off Constantinou. Finds Sekenis. Propped it forward, but it's easily read at the back by Bryce. And here's a ball through the middle, looking for the run of Holtz. Paraskis is across to cover. It's back to Sanders. Twisting and turning, looking for a way through. Nothing there for them at the moment. The switch to this near side to Bizzari, and they've stretched Canberra Olympic a little here. Bizzari, he's overhit that one though, and it's harmless. But once again, good movement from Edgeworth, not afraid to switch the ball from left to right. They're
playing very well. The forward runs, as soon as they win the ball, they're looking to play forward, and they're getting people going in behind Olympics defenders. The penetration at the moment is just lacking a little bit of quality. If we can find that, then it's only a matter of time before they find the back of the net.
Shouldn't be surprised, Steve. They've got previous here, of course. In 2015, they lost in the quarterfinals to Moreton Bay United, but last year they went all the way to the final. They beat Bentley Greens 3-1, Perth 1-0, and they lost in the grand final to Sydney United 58-4-1. Never played a home game in the finals in 4 matches. This is their 5th away game. So they're used to the travel, and they're used to winning games.
Well, the pedigree is first class, isn't it, for an NPL competition?
I understand they were disappointed. They took a massive crowd to Sydney United for the final last year as well, down from Newcastle. Not so many travelling supporters down to Canberra this time. Clement McNeese swings that in towards Gillespie. Wheeler missed it. It's fallen for Dominici. He'll run at his man here, looking for the run outside of Reeve. Tries to get the better of Bryce and wins the first set piece of the day for Canberra Olympic.
Much better from Olympic. Much, much better. The Reeves didn't quite read the pass, but he got there in the end, and he's won themselves a corner. And this is one opportunity, set pieces, where Olympic might look to take advantage.
There's no real advantage in height for them. Let's see what Reeve can do when he swings this corner into the penalty. It's gone low to the near post.
Well, there's no height.
Miskicked completely by the defence. Dominici tries a snapshot, but that's one's off towards the basketball hoop, and the lads playing behind the goal there.
About the same number over there as in the crowd.
It's a bit of a sparse populated crowd today. Not a huge amount of people at this one at the moment, but the ones that are here enjoying what they're seeing so far.
Yeah, a little disappointing, the numbers, I've got to say. I'd expected a few more. I mean, if nothing else, to come and watch a team that we don't normally see.
Well, the ones that aren't here are missing out, or they're obviously watching at home live. Josh Lowe sends that one forward. That's a huge kick, looking for McBreen to flick on, and Sanders has got him behind here. Real chance here for Kieran Sanders in on goal. Opportunity for Edgeworth, and they lead. Beautifully finished from Sanders. It was Route 1. Lowe sent it, McBreen won the header, and Sanders got in and confidently flicks it past Constantinou, and Edgeworth are in front.
Yes, that was simplicity itself, wasn't it? The keeper, flick on, runner in behind, neat finish. Full credit to the Eagles, but Olympic will be a little disappointed that they've been caught so flat-footed at the back.
Well, of all their pretty approach play that they've done in the first 15 minutes or so, it is Route 1 that's caused the problems. And massive kick from Lowe, and McBreen showing all his strength and awareness to flick it on. And they told us beforehand that Sanders had pace and could finish, and he certainly showed that there, because Constantinou is a imposing figure when you're one-on-one with the big Futsal goalkeeper. He's got the ball at his feet here, and Olympic need a response. Here come the Eagles once more. McBreen looking to get in there, and behind them the flag has gone up. Fortunately for Canberra Olympic, because I think Keanu Moore may have been away there.
I don't think our history in this competition is all that strong, is it, Canberra?
It's not fantastic. No wins. Sydney United 58 beat Canberra FC 2-1 in 2013. Bonnie Rig beat Tigers 6-1 in 2014. Blacktown City beat Canberra FC 4-1 in 2015. And last year, Brisbane Strikers snuck past Canberra Olympic 3-2. Jordan Sekenis scored twice there. 2 own goals in that game, Tim Bobulus and Jeremy Habtemariam, and the winner coming 9 minutes from time. So that's the best performance by a Canberra team in this competition, was by Canberra Olympic.
And we've only had one home game prior to that, and with the Tigers.
That's right, and Tigers were beaten comfortably. They took the lead in that game and were beaten 6-1 by Bonnie Rig on the day. Bonnie Rig getting to the final that year. First few years, of course, in this competition, the Canberra locals played the New South Wales Premier League champions. Last year was the first time that they played someone different and put up a good fight. But Northern New South Wales Premier League, one of the most improved in the whole of Australia, and you can see why. It's some good footballers.
Yeah. But I like I was saying before, put it down to the fact that in the geographical area, the Newcastle Jets and even the Central Coast Mariners, I guess, will provide a little bit of A-League quality.
There's Dominici. It's been talked up as being potential A-League quality, Stephen Dominici.
Well, he's got an opportunity to show it tonight.
Needs to stand up for his team. And there's a ball from Holtz looking for Bryce, asking a lot from the right fullback. Didn't give it up, though, and he's got a rangy stride, the player on the right-hand side there for Edgeworth. He's a tall boy. Stabs that one through to McBreen. Chance again for Edgeworth. Numbers in the box. McBreen on the edge of the penalty area. Gets onto that left foot, shoots, and Constantine's fumbled it, and it's just gone wide of the goal. Didn't get much on it there, the big goalkeeper, but enough to just push it around the post.
And Angelo will tell you afterwards that's all he needs to do, but it was a very, unless he saw it late, it was a very late intervention.
Yeah, he'll tell me for sure that he had it covered. He got enough on it, conceded to the corner.
Yeah.
Chance for Edgeworth to send these big players forward, though. Bryce has taken up a spot in the middle of the penalty area. He's an obvious target, of course. McBreen's aerial ability is well known on the far post. Let's see what the dead ball prowess is good. Headed away by Gulewski. Decent ball in, though. A chance to swing it back into the penalty area again, and McBreen helped it on its way, and this time Constantine comfortably catches. But Frank Haish's team been caught a little bit stretched out wide on both his left and right flank.
Yeah, they're extremely mobile. You move the ball quickly, take up good positions, get outside and beyond defenders. It's going to cause some problems if they don't sort out early.
Pasquale's robbed by Sekenis, but he does enough to get back and get the ball back off his skipper. Bizzari sends it forward. Nice touch by Moore. Now Holtz brings it and switches it to this near side. Boa's got in behind Bobolus again. The flag stays down. As a bit of rain starts to fall across Deakin Stadium, just what we wanted in the back of the stands, open to the elements here with our setup. Hopefully it's...
Is that my phone ringing? I think
hopefully it's not going to come down too much, otherwise we'll be very wet shortly.
Could be the wife.
Throw into the Eagles. Here's Pasquale. Comfortable on the ball, goes back to Bizzari. Chips it into the air, but that's too near the goalkeeper, and Constantine gratefully plucks it out of the air.
You don't mind a cross, though, do we? McBreen as the furthest forward. They're looking to play to his aerial strengths.
Well, each one, he's only ever hit one, I think, so far, Bizzari, and he clips the ball in nicely, but that's a mistake by Constantine. Gives away to McBreen, who automatically, there's the striker's instinct in him, tries to flick the ball back over the keeper's head, and Angelo Constantine was livid with himself by the his distribution there. He did that last week as well, didn't he? It almost cost his team a goal.
He did. It's very unusual because he is very, very good with his left foot. But McBreen might have seen the run of his fellow striker there, and they would have been in one-on-one.
Sanders who made the run to his right. Can't blame him, though. I think he saw the keeper off his line out the corner of his eye. Here's Dominici all the way back at right back, and he's giving it away now to Pasquale. Moore helps it to Boa. Runners in the middle again. Will Boa takes him on, swings it in, and again Constantine has to get hold of it. But Olympic giving away far too much ball at the moment for their liking. Katnach. Now a bit of space for Sekenis. 3-on-3 momentarily. Gillespie. Back comes Pasquale and just thunders it back to his goalkeeper. And Lowe starts us off again with Evans.
Be very easy to be critical of Olympic turning over possession so quickly, but Edgeworth are really trying hard to press, and it's making it very difficult for an inexperienced Olympic side to play out.
Here's Wheeler. He's giving it away to Colbertaldo. Now Katnach. Looking for the run of Dominici, but he's overhit that one. And lots of space in the middle of the park for Edgeworth from Pasquale, and there's Boa. And now here's Moore. He'll look to run at Bobolus. Drops the shoulder. Keanu Moore still going. What's his support in the middle of the field? From Sanders. Now McBreen into the penalty area. McNee tries to get it away, and the shot comes in. And Constantine got a hand up and flicked it over the crossbar. It was Boa who got the left foot shot away. And at the moment, Edgeworth looking very, very confident.
Yeah, it's going to be a long evening for Olympic if this stays the way it's going. But we saw last week the freedom of midfield given to Bill Connon because the Olympic midfield didn't quite come to grips with what was going on.
Connon swung in, picked up on the far post, pulled back to the edge of the penalty area for Moore. Thought about the shot for a second, but it sat up on him. So he keeps possession. Is Boa. Now Sanders, the goal scorer. Swings that one into the penalty area, and Constantino has to come, and a bit of miscommunication between him and Clement McNee there, and the youngster does the right thing in the end and knocks it out for the corner.
Yeah, take charge, got it away.
Sanders goes short to Boa. Back to Sanders again. Just saw a right foot cross that was dangerous. He goes to the far post. This time the header comes in, and it was just wide of goal from Bryce. The flag was up anyway, so it wouldn't have counted, but Edgeworth Eagles have come to Canberra, and they've settled nicely, and they're very well worth their 1-0 lead so far given to them by Kieran Sanders. Yeah,
it's the energy levels of Olympic are very low. There doesn't seem to be a lot of urgency or enthusiasm in the game, and it's almost as if they're resigned to going out at this stage of this competition. And it's only 1-0. They can still get back into this.
They're getting bossed in the middle of the park at the moment, and both fullbacks are being tested, Bobolas and Parascus as well. And you can see that both fullbacks for Edgeworth, Bizarri and Bryce, both not afraid to get forward, and both give good decent service into the penalty area.
The boy on the left-hand side's got a neat left foot, and Bryce, as you're saying, the lopes forward and causes problems.
It's Boa. Chips it over the top. No flag against McBreen. He's got in goal side. Can't catch that, though. Maybe 5 or 6 years ago for Daniel McBreen, and of all his qualities, I don't think that's one of the he wants to be chasing, really, does he?
No. Good movement. Just greasy pitch and a little over hit. Just caught him out.
Well, you mentioned it as well, Steve. A player of that quality, and Kieran Sanders as well, and Will Boa. The movement is causing all sorts of problems for Olympic, who perhaps aren't used to this kind of attacking triumvirate coming at them during a game. Here's McBreen again, holding it up and shows his strength and finds Boa again.
He's been impressive.
Cuts it back nicely to Moore. Another opportunity on the edge of the area. McBreen, it's come off the face of Cole Bataldo, fortunately for the home side, and Sekenis can perhaps bring it away. And here's Michael Reeve. Skips past the challenge of Bryce, but there's Dylan Holtz. Good piece of defending. Wheeler and Evans at the back. These centre-back pairing, they haven't really been tested at the moment, have they?
No.
But they both look very comfortable on the ball as well.
But they're being protected really well by a midfield that's working its socks off to sort of put pressure on Olympic.
Very impressed so far. It's a chance for Bryce to get down that wing, and across goes Parascus, and he's got to be careful, and the defender does well. Unused to that position, of course, Dimitri Parascos in the under-20s usually plays a bit further forward.
Yeah, I think there's scope for at least some structural changes in the way the Olympic are playing, if not personnel changes. I'm sure Frank Cater will wait till half-time before he changes too much.
Here's Cole Bataldo looking to exchange passes with Sekenis. Now here's a chance, perhaps. On that far side, peeling away is Dominici. He'll run at Holtz. Bryce out of position for the first time in the game. Flicked on by Gillespie, but the Eagles come away with it again. Looking at that Olympic bench, they've got Jeremy Habtemariam and Michael John as forward options, Tom McLaughlin and Adrian Maycor, and the sub-goalkeeper Jack Petit.
I think, not that I can tell you at this stage who I would be taking off at halftime, but I think giving young Adrian Maycor a run next to Cole Bataldo as a double six might help them out.
Reeve flicks that one up towards Dominici. They need to get him on the ball a bit more. Here he is. Real chance here for Gillespie, breaking in a goal. Opportunity for Sekenis. He must score, and he has. And Canberra Olympic are back level. John Sekenis, who scored both goals in the NPL final series for Olympic last season, gets his team on the board, and they're all square.
Fantastic comeback. Fantastic comeback. I mean, it looked as if they were dropping away completely, and suddenly they burst into life, and for the first time in the game they've got a series of passes together and retained possession and created a gilded edge opportunity, and Sekenis, wonderfully found by Gillespie, who wasn't greedy, wasn't selfish, did the right thing. Class finish, class goal.
The first time they've stretched Edgeworth Eagles all game, and as you say, Gillespie could have shot himself, but he rolls the ball to Sekenis, and Sekenis, who scored the goal in the grand final last week as well against Belconnen United, has his team level, and the Eagles have been pegged back. Interesting to see what they've got in response now.
It's got to give a lot of credit to Daniel Cole Bataldo as well, as he broke out of midfield then. Went past two players and then found Dominici wide with a good pass. And he has been probably the Olympics' best player so far, Corbataldo.
Well, here's Bizzari, lucky to get that one. Swings it into the penalty area, bounces around, and that's hooked goalwards by McBreen, and it's just wide of goal in the end.
It's just a bit too easy, isn't it, to find people on the edge of the box.
I think Frank Keisha, the head coach of Canberra Olympic, will be a bit disappointed with the way his fullbacks aren't getting tight enough to the overlapping runners here. And I think it's a lot of work for the midfield to come and help Tim Bobblers, because Bower and Bizzari are causing him all sorts of problems, 2-on-1, and Bryce on the far side with Sanders as well.
Well, we saw it last week with Makor and Fabrizio, and structurally they didn't deal with it. And, you know, I think they've got to get the two wide guys that play up in the front three to come back and help.
Evans finds McBreen. Bower claims that Bobblers had hold of him. He got a lot tighter to him that time. Rene finds Parascus. Now Corbataldo. Clement McNee. So Kennis flicks that on, but there was no runner for him, so it'll be a throw in just in front of us in the commentary position here, which Domenico Bizzari takes. Here's Evans. They don't concede many goals, as we said, Eagles, so Olympic will be happy they've got one, and Katanach goes for the audacious effort from distance, but never really had the height, did it, to trouble Josh Lowe?
No.
Nice idea, though.
Yeah, it was. It was. It's a great example of the sort of vision that Robbie Katanach has. But there were better options then, and he's probably missed a trick there a bit.
Well, as I was saying, they don't concede many goals, but just at the moment they've been rattled a little bit, the Eagles. It's Pasquale.
Evans in particular looks very casual at the back when he's in possession, and maybe that's a way forward for Olympic.
Moore, good movement by him. Infields to Sanders. Tried to slip that one through back to Moore. Gets a second bite of the cherry, but Bobblers takes it off him. And you can find Bizzari, though, and that's good closing down from Sekenis on that occasion.
That's what they need to do. They need to get people like Sekenis closer to Timmy Bobblers so they can stop that numerical superiority.
Ball sent forward. McBreen's got in behind here, and he's going to get on the end of this one. He's going to settle for the corner, in fact, in the end. A chance to load the penalty area again with red shirts. And the opportunity to swing this one into the penalty area, perhaps. Bizzari's going across from this left-hand side to use that left foot, which we've seen to good effect so far. Goes short. And it's a chance. The second attempt for the shots coming in. McBreen's hit his own player. Knocked him over as well. Had a fair bit of fizz in that effort.
It's the only way Olympic could get the throw. Well done, Olympic.
Sure they played for that one. I think it was Will Bower there it hit. Knocked him off his feet, so it had a fair bit of meat behind it, didn't it?
But he started well, Bower, hasn't he? He looks a decent player.
Well, here's Reeve. Sends that one forward. If you've just joined us, it's 1-1. Canberra Olympic against Edgeworth Eagles. Kieran Sanders gave the visitors the lead. And on their first real attempt on goal, you'd say Jordan Sekenis has equalised for Olympic, who have been on the back foot for most of it. And it's a foul by Bobblers on Moore. And this will be a little bit of chat, I think, by Luke Withall. Just a little word with Bobblers to calm down for a bit. It was done all ends up there by a little touch by Moore.
I mean, it was very cynical, wasn't it?
Lucky perhaps to escape a card. Early stages, though, of course. So sometimes the referees don't like to give them early, do they? Here's Wheeler. Now Bower. Bryce. Back to Holtz. Wheeler again. Stabs that one forward, and it's not his best ball of the evening, and Reeve has it. And the flag was up against the lanky right back. He's played more as an auxiliary winger today than he has a fullback so far, hasn't he?
Yeah, they've.
It was his position they got in, I guess, as well, done that right-hand side.
Well, I mean, that's what you should be looking to do, is if you can catch them on the break like they did, with Corbataldo bursting forward like he did, and get in behind and into the spaces where fullbacks have vacated, you're a chance, aren't you?
Sekenis, now Gillespie, who did that to good effect. Lost possession. Here's Sanders. Tries to find McBreen. Now Clement McNee is back with him, and the youngster, going to hesitate, I guess, saying he's half his age. I would have suggested. McBreen in a foot race with Clement McNee. You'd back the Olympic youngster in that one. So Kennis comes back looking for the throw of Bizzari, and he gets it. They finally settled a little bit now, Olympic, after looking on the back foot for the opening stages. Evans finds Wheeler. Bryce swings a right foot at it, and that's a great looking ball over the top. Moore's coming, but Constantinou is out and grabs it and sends his team on the way to Bobblers. Now perhaps a chance for him to play the ball up the line, looking for Gillespie. He'll take on Evans, who strong defensively. They look a lot better, Olympic, when they do things at pace.
Yeah. And when they're positive. When they're positive, play forward rather than trying to be too intricate. I think there is opportunities for them if they can get runners in behind the back four.
Gillespie finds Colbertaldo. Pressure from Holtz. And Rene sends it wide to Praskas. Back to Rene again. A bit more patience from Olympic now. They look a bit more composed on the ball than they did in the opening 15 minutes or so. As I say that, though, they give it away. It's stabbed forward, looking for the run of Moore. Now Rene. At least the rains that threaten hasn't come down, Stephen. All safe here. Brandon in front of us is wiping his brow. All his expensive equipment looking like it was going to be drenched in a Canberra downpour for a second. He's got a coat over his monitor there. I might have to nick that for my head if it gets a bit wet.
It's only a small coat, Russ.
What are you trying to say, Steve? Anyway, back to the more important stuff, which is the football. Josh Lowe has it. As we said, in for Cavalieri today, who's missing with that broken finger. I don't know if he travelled with the squad or whether he decided to stay in Newcastle. But that's a little bit of a disruption for them, isn't it, as well? A young goalkeeper coming in for your normal goalkeeper, Nate Cavalieri, who played 22 matches this season. Only Brodie Taylor, who's also not here, and Patrick Wheeler played more for Edgeworth.
Yeah. Once again, I mean, obviously, in competitions of this stature, you want to be putting your best side out. But the young goalkeeper, he's done okay. He's been beaten once, but it was an opportunity that Olympic should have scored. And he hasn't done much, and he's created the opportunity for their goal. So he'll be comfortable enough. He
has a really good long ball forward. Here's Bizzari. Space again for this left back. Sanders tried to help it round the corner, but Colbertaldo read that well and can bring it away for Olympic. Not much movement ahead of him, though, so he has to go cross field. That's asking a lot.
Yeah, it's ambitious.
And Bryce and Wheeler combined to go back to Lowe. It's Bizzari. Evans again, as you said, very composed on the ball, but sometimes looks a little bit lackadaisical in his approach, doesn't he?
Very casual, very laid back.
Maybe that's the way he plays the game.
Yeah.
Obviously does something right, this back four, having only conceded the 14 goals all season in their local competition, which they won, of course. They finished a comfortable 3 points ahead of Hamilton Olympic in the end, but lost, of course, in the final last week. There was 4,174 at McDonald Jones Stadium last week.
That's a good crowd for a local game, isn't it?
Yeah, for a grand final. Excellent crowd there. Here's Colbertaldo as the rain starts to spit down again, looking for the run of Gillespie. Now, Lowe slipped. If Gillespie could get in here, there's a real chance, but that is fantastic defending in the end. At the back there by, I think that was Wheeler covering, was it? Wonderful piece of covering defence.
Yeah, it was, but it was a good piece of football from Olympic too.
Great turn from Colbertaldo, looking for Dominici. And Wheeler stabs that one out of play, and defensively they look a little bit rattled the last 5 minutes.
Not as composed as first impressions would suggest. Certainly if Olympic can find a little constructive possession in the midfield third, there's going to be opportunities for them because they do have enough firepower.
Here's Reeve, come to this near side. Evans under pressure from Reeve and Bobulus. Does well there, the centre-back. And finds Boa, who's noticeably gone a bit quieter as this half has worn on, but that's a better ball. Looking for Sanders. Didn't bring it under control, but it's fallen nicely for Bryce. Now Moore's made a great run ahead of him, and McBreen's come to this near side. Real chance here for McBreen if he stays on side, and he doesn't. You'd expect more from an experienced player of that. Perhaps Bryce took a touch too many.
But he should have been able to see it from that position, shouldn't he?
But once again, once Bryce broke forward there was real danger, and Moore and McBreen both made excellent runs for the right fullback.
Daniel's not happy with the linesman for giving that, but I think he was offside.
That's Owen Goldrick on the far side. He's done a lot of A-League football, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. We've got Adam Powers, who's refereeing this near, who's an assistant on this near side. Luke Withell is the referee in the middle, and we've got Greg Taylor, who's the fourth official today. All local ACT referees for this one, but all with National League experience as well at various levels. Here's Rene, Dominici. Flicks that one away, but Bryce has read it. Here's Pasquale. Oh, that almost snuck its way through, but it's fallen for Moore. He'll take on Bobolus.
No, they can break.
Well, Sekenis has it, but the touch is heavy, and across comes Pasquale to win it, but Sekenis rides the challenge. Now looks for Parascus, a little bit of space for the fullback. Reeve, infield to Dominici. Back to Parascus again. Katnach. Nice run from Robbie Katnach, the most experienced player on the Olympic team. Here's Reeve. Colbertaldo, and now Bobolus. When he's let that one run across his body, he really needs to take that in his path on this surface. Good surface here, Stephen. It had a sprinkling of water before kickoff.
And it's certainly lifted the pace of the game, but Michael Reeves sort of destroyed the momentum of the attack when he turned back inside.
And the flag would have gone up there against Boa had he chased that one from Sanders. High line there for Olympic, though, and a dangerous one. It's Parascus. Gives it away to Wheeler. And Wheeler again, now Bryce. Infield to Sanders, looking to twist and turn again, but they've coped with him quite well since he scored. Here's Bizzari. He sends the one over the top as well, looking for the runner, but well read by Bobolus. Colbertaldo from Sekenis picks up the pieces, and Olympic can start again.
They've settled into it a lot better now. I know we're coming to the death throes of the first half, but they're looking a lot more composed in possession than they were for the first period of this game.
About 6.5 minutes to go here, live in the PS4 NPL final series. Canberra Olympic 1, Edgeworth Eagles 1. The clash between the ACT and Northern New South Wales. The winner will play South Hobart or Brisbane Strikers next week in the semi-finals. Obviously, goals and points and all sorts come into the equation for that one about where it will be. We won't know that till afterwards, of course. Here's a chance back for Dominici. Gillespie robbed Pasquale. Dominici running at Wheeler, who stands him up well. Looking for some support. Colbertaldo's there, but he's not seen more on the blind side of him. He's got it out to Dominici, though, looking for the shot, perhaps. Running at them, Dominici, into the air, shoots. And Lowe is always behind that one. But better football. He's got Sanders on the ball from the throw-out, and off he goes. The English striker, he's looking for Boa to get in behind Bobolus, and Bobolus did enough to send it back to Constantino. Bryce wins it in the air, unsurprisingly. And Parascus should see this one out. But there's the danger for you, Steve. When Olympic break, the Edgeworth very quick to get on the front foot when they've got the ball.
Yes, yes. The transition is very, very quick.
It's Boa looking to get up behind Clement McNeil. Little shove in the back of the young centre-back there, though, spotted by Luke Withell, who gives the free kick.
I think Frank Casher will be looking for more from the Dominicis and the Catanacks of his side. They've got some good opportunities in and around the Eagles' box. And in that last attack, we saw Dominici just dwell and look a little laboured in possession when a quick pass forward might have served better purposes.
Well, Bobolus tries to get the ball forward early to Sekenis, but they've read it well at the back. And Evans, again, a little bit casual in possession. And Sekenis got a foot on it, but he can't keep it in, and it'll be a throw right down in that far corner.
Sekenis and Gillespie, certainly of the front three, have looked good.
Bobolus. Cadnach will challenge. It will come to Sekenis, who scored Olympics goal, of course. Here's Moore. Now McBreen. Boa took it in stride. I don't think it was meant for him, though. Oh. And that's come off of Pasquale, and for a second, Gillespie may have thought he may have been in. In the end, the ball roll comes. He back to Low, though. Sanders, he's come deep for it a lot, hasn't he? And here's the run again, forward by Moore. Holtz goes forward and is upended. It's all a bit. He was unhappy. I think you may have apologies if you picked that up on the monitors there. I don't think he was particularly happy with his teammates for a second. Here's Bizzari. Now Boa. They've overloaded again on this near side. McBreen and Colbertaldo's done well there, and he's going to find Dominici. And there's a bit of space for Dominici to run into here. Coming across is Pasquale, and that's a great sliding challenge from Boa to win the ball. The old-fashioned challenge from the winger coming back, and that one lifts your teammates, doesn't it, when you see your strikers coming back to do that kind of challenge?
And that's what I'm saying with the Olympic wingers. They've got to do the same thing to help the fullbacks out. But Dominici then was looking for support, and they were miles away from him, so he was vulnerable to a tackle, that's for sure.
Wheeler finds Pasquale in the centre circle. Space again for Boa. He skipped away from him on this surface. Once again, though, he's got a lot of space out on this near side. And as we approach half-time, 3 minutes or so to go, 1-1. If it is a draw, of course, after the end of 90 minutes, we'll have extra time and then penalties.
And it's the brand new
ABBA format. We'll have a look at it. And its critics.
What do you think of that?
So it's a bit strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll just come back to that in a second as Sanders is looking to get a shot away. Prods it forward towards McBreen. Can he keep it in play? He can. Here's Moore. Good step by Moore. Shooting chance perhaps for him. And he flings it across goal. And Constantinou diving to his left, pulls it away. It's back into the middle, and Olympic have to try and be careful. And that's a flags up on the far side against, I think it may have been Sanders over there. Good save from Constantinou, though, and Moore did well once more.
Yes. Angelo's redeemed himself from his couple of aberrations earlier in the game. He's got a couple of paws on things now to deflect them over or direct them wide, and he's made a good save there from what was a goal-scoring opportunity for the Eagles.
They're diving to his left to palm it away. Going back to the penalties, I'm not sure what difference it makes, Steve.
I can't work it out myself. I mean, the stats seem to say that if you take the first one and you miss, then the chances are you'll lose the penalty shootout. Well, seems reasonable to score.
Nothing's really changed, does it?
No.
If you still miss the first one.
Yeah.
Maybe it gets it over with if they miss the second and third.
Yeah. Well, apparently it puts too much, or maybe I got that wrong and it's putting too much pressure on the team that's taking the second penalty or something like that. But to me, you got 5 each.
Well, we'll cross that bridge if and when we come to it this evening, I think.
Yeah, we're a long way from that yet.
At the moment. And judging by the way both these teams are going at it, I'll be surprised if we don't see any more goals in regulation time. Chance for Edgeworth on this occasion. They've got a free kick.
Yeah.
Dangerous position. Bryce has trotted to the back post behind McBreen. Maybe that will be the target. It's into the penalty area, and the header's in, and it's a great header too. And it's a fantastic goal, and it's a captain's goal from Josh Evans, climbing highest to win the header and put Edgeworth back in front.
Well, set pieces are a part of the game, and the Edgeworth Eagles taken one, scored from one. Angelo perhaps a little out of position because the header looked like it went in more or less in the middle, but superiority in the air, and Olympic pay the price.
A deja vu for Canberra Olympic and their head coach Frank Keisha. Last week they conceded a headed goal right on the stroke of half-time to go 2-0 down in the local ground final. And here, with barely 30 seconds left of the first half, Josh Evans has climbed highest, and you can hear the cheer from northern New South Wales. I'm sure there's a fair few people watching up in Edgeworth Club up there, and your skipper's come up good. They're 2-1 up. We said there'd be more goals. Didn't expect it to come quite so quickly after we said that.
No.
Here's more.
It comes at a time when I thought Olympic had just sort of settled into it a little bit. And these games are important, I think, for the local teams, considering that we've now been awarded a youth licence for the A-League youth league.
Here's Bobolus. Bizarri gets in with a challenge. We called it a coach killer last week, and it really is one that really hurts you, conceding right on half-time. But can Olympic get something back from this? Here's Galevsky. He's got goal side of Evans, who does well to concede the corner, and a chance perhaps for Olympic to throw some numbers into the penalty area as we enter stoppage time at the end of the first half. The Eagles leading by 2-1. Our scoreboard still says 1-1. I think that's probably someone from Olympic running that one, hoping that was disallowed. Michael Reeves going to take this. Nobody in the 6-yard box. They're all going to make late runs for Olympic. Reeve goes short and low. It's going to fall here for Katnach, who drives it goalwards, and it did beat the goalkeeper and was cleared off the line at the back post. It's fallen for Dominici. Clement McNee, Katnach again on the edge of the penalty area. Sends that one forward to Sanders. Shoulder to shoulder with Colbertaldo, and the Olympic midfielder wins a throw, but Robbie Katnach didn't catch that one, and it fooled everybody.
Wouldn't surprise you if it dribbled into it, but if he does catch it, he's dangerous from there.
Renee, sweeping ball forward, looking for Bobolus, beaten in the air by Bizarri, but it's volleyed clear by Wheeler. And that's the end of the first half, Stephen. An entertaining first half as well, and Edgeworth on the balance, perhaps justifiably 2-1 up.
certainly started the better of the two teams, and for most of the first half they were dominant. They pushed, pressed, penetrated. They were good in possession. When they didn't have possession, they worked hard to make sure Olympic couldn't play. They were duly rewarded with a fine first goal. Olympic then sort of worked themselves back into it and had a good 5 or 10 minutes, and they managed to get an equaliser, but then when you need your concentration to be at the highest, they've let it lapse, give away a silly free kick and then concede just before half-time. And yep, you can't deny that the Eagles are worth the 2-1 lead.
Josh Lowe sent the ball forwards for the first goal. It was a long ball forward, and they talked about Sanders. He got on the end of it to give Edgeworth the lead with a beautiful strike. Canberra Olympic got back into it, as Steve says. Jordan Sekenis equalising after a good move from Joshua Galevsky to make it 1-1. But right on half-time there, when you need big names and big games and big goals, your skipper's your man to turn to, and Josh Evans has climbed highest to give the Eagles the lead. We're going to have a bit of a break at half-time, but we'll be back for the second half at half-time here in the PS4 NPL final series at Deakin Stadium. It's Canberra Olympic 1, Edgeworth Eagles 2.
Australia lead magnificently. 10-point cross again from the corner. This is your stage.
Early on for the left-hand sided player, and he swings that one in, wins the first corner of the match.
Yeah, better
Evans, who finds Bizarri. Good ball towards the far post, looking for McBreen, who stuck a left foot out of that and didn't make contact, but as that one forward, that's a huge kick, looking for McBreen to flick on, and Sanders has got him behind here. Real chance here for Kieran Sanders in on goal. Opportunity for Edgeworth, and they lead. Beautifully finished. Chance again for Edgeworth. Numbers in the box. McBreen on the edge of the penalty area. Gets onto that left foot, shoots, and Constantine's fumbled it, and it's just gone wide of the goal. Didn't get much on it there, the big goer. Back to Sanders again. Just saw a right foot cross that was dangerous. He goes to the far post. This time the header comes in, and it was just wide of goal from... Real chance here for Galevsky breaking in on goal. Opportunity for Sekenis. He must score, and he has. And Canberra Olympic are back level. Jordan Sekenis, who scored both goals in the... Happy they've got one, and Katanach goes for the audacious effort from distance, but Nelda's there, but he's not seen more on the blind side of him. He's got it out to Dominici, though, looking for the shot perhaps. Running at them, Dominici into the air, shoots, and Lowe is always behind that one. Towards McBreen. Can he keep it in play? He can. Here's Moore. Good step by Moore. Shooting chance perhaps for him. And he flings it across goal. And Constantine diving to his left. McBreen. Maybe that will be the target. It's into the penalty area. And the header's in. And it's a great header too. And it's a fantastic goal. And it's a captain's goal from Josh Evans. McBreen. Maybe that will be the target. It's into the penalty area. And the header's in. And it's a great header too. And it's a fantastic goal. And it's a captain's goal from Josh Evans, climbing highest. Welcome back to Deakin Stadium for the PS4 NPL final series match between Canberra Olympic and Edgeworth Eagles. The Edgeworth Eagles from Northern New South Wales leading the ACT champions 2-1 at the break. Team's ready to start the second half. Glancing my eye around, can't see, I think there's a change right now for Olympic, in fact. Just going to have a look to see what's going on. I can tell you the Edgeworth team first. Josh Lowe in goal, Domenico Bizzari, Pat Wheeler, Josh Evans and Aidan Bryce, Lachlan Pasquale, Dylan Holtz and Keanu Moore in the midfield, and then Will Burr, Daniel McBreen and Kieran Sanders up front for them. Canberra Olympic, no changes from them at half-time. Angelo Constantino in goal, Tim Boblis, Jackson Clement McNee, Bernard Rene, Dimitri Pescaros across the back four, Daniel Colbertaldo, Robbie Catanach and Dominici in midfield up front, Michael Reeve, Jordan Sekenis and Josh Gillespie. So, Steve, back for the second half, and it's Edgeworth on the attack straight away like they were at the first half. That goal right before half-time, bit of a killer for Olympic.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see how they respond.
Never a great time to concede goals, but just before half-time 2 weeks in a row. Makes it extremely difficult, but here they go again.
Well, Bryce put that one in, and it was let to run, and McBreen gets towards a near post, and he couldn't get a touch on it. Early signs, once again, that the Eagles looking to get forward and get forward well, and it was Bizzari that got over on that left-hand side again, causing issues for Bobulus. Here's Rene.
They started the same way in the first half. You remember to flash one across the face of goal.
Wheeler goes back to Lowe. Have just had enough pace on it. Evans finds Bizzari. Clips that one forward. He's looked pretty good, Domenico Bizzari, hasn't he? One of the better players on the park.
Well, him and the left winger have looked extremely good. Looked extremely good. Caused Timmy Bobbles all sorts.
Here's Rene. Slides it down this touchline towards Reeve, who lays it off. Parascus. Colbertaldo. We had a bit of rain at half-time, and the Capital Football staff trying to stick a marquee up to keep us a bit dry. Here's Wheeler sending that one away. Picked up by Sekenis, who's dropped very deep. Colbertaldo finds Rene to this near side to Parascus. His passo is easily picked off by Pasquale, who finds McBreen. Holds the ball up. Where's his support? Gillespie got a toe on that, and Bobulus can complete the clearance. Up towards Evans, who scored that goal right on half-time. Came together with Catanach there, and Robbie Catanach stays down, and it takes a lot to keep Robbie Catanach on the floor, doesn't it, Steve?
Yeah, he must have just caught a boot or something late.
Well, he's not moved. That's not good news for Canberra Olympic at all. He's got up now. It looks to be okay, fortunately. Holds the ball up. This marquee's going up over our head as we speak.
If you could see me now.
The ball's back with Lowe. Right-footed. He sends that one forward, looking for McBreen again. Chests it down. Sanders is deep. Looking for Wheeler. Gets it back again. Sanders, who opened the scoring earlier on. His ball's towards Bryce, who's got goal side of Reeve for a second, and Rene comes across, and Bryce just left his foot in there. Apologises to the Olympic defender. No real change in tactics, though, for the Edgeworth Eagles, Steve, and why not, hey?
No, well, what worked for them in the first half, they'll obviously believe can work for them in the second. Not that I can see what's going on at the moment.
Steve's stuck underneath the marquee while they're putting it up. Constantin, who's going to take this goal kick. Looks to send it downfield. It's one in the air by Pasquale. Handball call against Sanders. He's asked McBreen to chase that. And Constantin's got to be careful here and get his clearance right, and he does. Catanach with Pasquale. Sanders finds Holtz. And he goes wide to Pizarro. Left-footed ball forward, looking for more. And he'll chase this down diligently, but he's not going to keep that in play. But it came off a blue shirt, so it's a corner for the Eagles. And Damien Zane will be happy with the way they've started this half, Steve.
Yeah, they started the first half brightly, and they've done the same at the start of the second. Just put in a little bit of pressure on Timmy Boblis in the Olympic back four.
They've got this corner. See what they can deal with it. Swung in towards the far post. Renee helps it on its way and will have a corner on this near side. In the shadows of the floodlight pylon there, it swung towards the far post. Constantinu's come, but Reeves half cleared that one straight back to him, Stephen.
It's not something you practice.
Got a bit lucky there.
Yeah. I think he was trying to let that run and it's bounced off him.
Constantinu thumps that one forward. It's won by Wheeler. Here's Galevsky. Rolls it down into the corner towards Dominici. In fact, it's Sekenis rather.
Yeah.
He's holding it up. Still under pressure, and he's going to concede the throw-in. That's good defending by the Eagles.
Once again, he wasn't offered a lot of support, was he, Dominici?
Not a huge amount. Sekenis scored the goal, though. Got them back into the game, Olympic, at 1-1. And they conceded, as we said, right on half-time. Swept forward, and Colbertaldo wins the header. Now here's Catanach. Evans came across the challenge. McBreen helps it on its way, but Renee's there. And here's Paraskis. Reeve looking to stand up against Bryce. Michael Reeve. Dominici. Still a spell of football from Olympic. Clement McNee can bring it forward. Looking for a runner outside him. Bobolus found Catanach, but in the end, the pass was overhit. And it's a goal kick.
More of that, though, from Olympic will see them in good stead. They do keep possession and try and work some openings on the back of it, and they should be okay.
That's Gillespie who overhit it, rather. Just difficult to see at the moment. Bobolus wins a header. Here's Sanders. Getting into his stride, and Rene has to get a foot in. Falls for Bizarro. Now Boa. Come back to this near side through Wheeler. Eagles building some momentum. Here's Holtz. Asked too much of Bryce. A little bit under pressure there from Paraskis as well.
Last two attacks, one for Olympic, one for the Eagles, have both broken down with a poor final pass. After both teams have looked to settle pretty well.
Sanders. Colbertaldo got involved, and here's Reeve to bring it away for Olympic. Looks to spread the play, and a bit of room perhaps for Jordan Sekenis to run at the Edgeworth Eagles defence. Jordan Sekenis going forward, but that's some good defending by Bizarri, who's back there to get a foot in. And away come it at the Eagles at the other end. Here's McBreen, bundled over by Robbie Catanach, and Sekenis picks up the pieces. Chance for Olympic to put some men into the penalty area. Good run from Galevsky, pings it across the area, and it's straight into Josh Lowe, but promising signs for the home side.
Great ball from Michael Reeve to set up that attack, and one-on-one attack, it managed to beat his defender, they're in.
The ball broke for Dominici, but the whistle went from Luke Withell for the free kick. Which Edgeworth get underway. Pasquale. Here's Bizarri. Low. Bit of room for Wheeler. Now Bryce. And Holtz. It's build up here from Edgeworth. Less direct than they were in the first half as Holtz swings it across. A couple of headers, first from McNee and then from Bobolus. And it's the red shirts who are trying to get on the end of it. They lead 2-1, of course. Bizarri advances forward. Now Boa swings it into the penalty area, but there's no one of an Edgeworth persuasion on the far post. Reeve toes it past his man. Now Dominici, chance to open his legs up, and Reeve goes after it, and Wheeler has to do well, and does. Great piece of defending from Pat Wheeler. Parascus gets in at the other end, and it's all a bit helter-skelter at the moment.
Yep. Time for somebody to get the foot on it and start playing a bit.
Bazzari's trying to do just that. Here's Pasquale. Loses out initially to Cadnats, but wins it back with a sliding challenge. Does well, the diminutive midfielder, and then sends the ball forward, looking for the run of Boa. Noticeably a bit quieter this half, Will Boa, 10 minutes in.
Yeah. I don't think that Lincoln have done anything structurally to stop it. It's just that Edgeworth are just not finding him as regularly as they were in the first half.
Here's Renee. Now Clement McNee. Gives it away, though, to Pasquale. And he looks for Boa. Chance for the winger to get this into the penalty area. And he was well tracked there by Clement McNee and concedes the throw.
Both the young boys that have come into the Olympic side after a shaky start have settled in reasonably well.
Promising signs for the future there for Canberra Olympic and Frank Caistor as well. They have been the dominant team in Canberra. They won the treble last year and reached the FFA Cup semi-final, and they were looking for a three-peat in the grand final this year, but were done over by Belconnen United last week at McKellar Park. Here's Sanders, who opened the scoring today. Nice turn. Gets on that right foot, but slipped at the vital moment. Otherwise, he was looking to get his shot away. Tricky customer.
Looks a decent player. Busy in the final third. Not afraid to take a shot. And is handy bringing other players into. He's got a good all-round game.
Didn't quite catch hold of that one, though.
No.
Angelo Constantinou, thankful to see it roll past his left-hand post. Gets us back underway. McBreen looks to help it on its way. Now Sanders has got in. Bit of space behind. He might try the shot. In fact, he pulled it across for McBreen. Shooting opportunity for Daniel Breen. And he's dragged it just wide of goal. He cut across the ball somewhat. And Angelo Constantinou was rooted to the spot, and it's trickled past the post.
Well, wonderful break. Great ball inside. Just talking about how Sanders brings people into the game, and it was a great reverse pass to find McBreen.
Chance for Dominici to get in from a Gillespie pass. Stephen Dominici's got a runner outside him. It was Sekenis, but it was behind the forwards rather than in front of him. John Sekenis whips that one in towards the far post, but that's always drifting out of play, and that was unfortunate for Olympic as Dominici broke that the pass was just a bit behind John Sekenis rather than in his path.
It's, symptomatic of Stephen Dominici's game tonight. His touch has been a little bit off. His passing's been poor. He's struggled to get into the game, playing in this more withdrawn role. And then when Sekenis did recover the pass, his cross is wasted.
Here's Sekenis. Looking for Gillespie. They've lost out again, though. Now Boa. McBreen. Change of direction, looking for Moore, who's made the room. And he will go at Bobolas here. Keanu Moore. Tested Constantinou in the first half. Couldn't quite get away from the defence this time, though. And Sekenis can bring it away. Looking for the run of Gillespie, and it's going to roll harmlessly. And Stephen Dominici, Steve, 28 goals this season in the Premier League for Canberra Olympic, and plenty more in the FFA Cup as well. Last 2 weeks, though, has been a bit out of sorts.
He has. Whether it's just sort of end of season laissez-faire, or whether he's just a little fatigued with all the games that they played, including the Newcastle game in midweek. I don't know, but he's certainly not been the player that set the competition alight during the 2017 NPL season.
Well, he's robbed by Moore there, and he's found McBreen. Puts the head down, and across comes Parascus to stand him up, and does well to get a foot in the right for the left fullback. Concedes the throw, though. Here's Sanders. Dominici back to challenge. Bryce and Pasquale. Look to play it back in field, Bryce, but Michael Reeve got a foot out. It's been noticeable this half, though, that we've seen less of Bryce as well on this side as well. It may be fatigue setting in a little bit, perhaps?
Yeah, possibly.
Did a lot of running in the first half.
Possibly. And partially because I think in the last 10 or 15 minutes of the first half, Olympic came into the game a little bit, and they did look a little vulnerable at the back, so they may have been, or just gone a little bit more conservative with their fullbacks.
Clement Manise clearance is half charged down. It fell for Boa. Looking to step his way around his marker. Bazzari comes in field to Holtz. Change of pace from Holtz. Now he slid in the runner, who I think was
Sanders.
Was that Sanders? Yeah, who made the run into the far corner there. Floodlights here at Deakin Stadium were upgraded for the AFC Cup in Australia in 2015. This was a training venue for quite a lot of the sides. It's a very famous venue in Canberra, home of Canberra FC, who traditionally have been one of the powerhouses of the competition, but have struggled in the last couple of years. But Marco Verkic and his crew done a great job with the surface again tonight, Steve.
Oh, the pitch is marvellous. Pitch is marvellous. A great facility.
And the stand we're in will be knocked down, I'm hearing, next season and turned into a media centre and a few more changing rooms on this side as well. So no marquee problems next year if there's a match here. We'll be undercover and everyone will be very helpful. I'm very thankful for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that would just improve the facility even more.
Well, those Canberra FC fans will be hoping that their team on the field next year can match up to the quality of the facilities, because this season wasn't their greatest.
It'd be most unusual if that club went 3 seasons without a trophy.
Parascus, Sanders kicks it straight into him, and it bounces kindly for Bryce, who goes back to Wheeler. Exchanges passes with his fullback.
Nice of the Eagles to wear the red and white, though.
That's probably why they feel at home. It's Pasquale to McBreen. Sanders loses out to Reeve, though. Looks to take on Holtz. This midfield pairing, Holtz and Pasquale, they work like Trojans, don't they? They're snapping away at the heels all the time and full of energy and endeavour. As I say that, they give it away. Here's Dominici looking for Gillespie, and Evans has read that superbly well. Finds Wheeler, and off we go again with Pasquale.
Once again, Dominici just sort of miscommunication with Gillespie. Had a simple pass to lay in Robbie Kadanak. Chose the harder option, and move breaks down, and now they're a chance.
Well, McBreen's ball is superb, and Moore has got the pace to get away down on the left. He's got Bryce coming in on the far post. He's got a player on the edge of their penalty area, pulls it back. It falls here for Sanders. Real chance for Aiden Bryce to seal it here, but he's put it into the side netting. What an opportunity there. Unfortunately for the Eagles, it's fallen to their fullback and not one of their strikers, and Canberra Olympic live to fight another day.
Wonderful, wonderful assist from McBreen to get the ball forward. People on the far side thought the ball was in the back of the net, but it did clearly go into the side netting. But it's an opportunity lost to put the game to bed.
Yeah, it was the ball across in the penalty area as well. What a chance that was for them. Aaron McLaughlin's come on for Will Bauer. Now, I understand that Aaron McLaughlin's more of a defensive player, they told me, according to the official media guides, than Bauer. But it'd be interesting to see if he slots into that same position as the winger. Maybe he pulled up with a bit lame, because he had a good first half, didn't he, Will Bauer? Didn't quite get into it in the second half. So he's walking straight into the changing rooms on the far side. So maybe there's a tweak there or something.
Possibly.
This Canberra weather gets them, doesn't it, every time they come down here, a little bit of cold.
But it may well be a sign that Edgeworth are a bit worried about Olympic on the break.
Sanders looks to win the throw-in, and does. Leaves it for Bryce, who we saw in the first half had a fairly lengthy throw on him. Looks for the run of McBreen, maybe. Finds a big striker. Pushes it in towards Moore, who almost broke in. He's good at breaking from deep, Keanu Moore. Causing Canberra Olympic plenty of issues coming from there. Here's McLaughlin's first involvement. He's come off his shin straight to Gillespie, and he's given it straight away. But Reeve wins it back. Across comes Holtz. And good pressure from Edgeworth, but classy play from Bernard Brenet to open himself up and find Clement McNee. So Kenneth and Colbertaldo. Colbertaldo in a heap on the floor, and no doing, says Withell. And here's a chance perhaps for Sanders to flick it down on that left-hand side. The flag goes up, and this won't count. Called by Adam Powers.
Great example of the transition, though. Win the ball high, play forward, get in behind, create chances. That it's sort of broken down with the offside call, but
that was the skipper Evans who had made that long run forward to get on the end of that. We're going to see Tommy McLaughlin coming on now, and it's Michael Reeve that's coming off. Interesting change.
Yeah, this is a little strange. I thought Michael Reeve in the second half in particular had been one of their better players, unless he's picked up a knock.
Well, maybe this will free Dominici into a more forward role and Catenacci into that 10 role, and then McLaughlin can slot next to Colbertaldo.
I think that's the idea.
And then might try to get their leading scorer and their playmaker on the ball as much as they possibly can, because we've got 25 minutes or so to go here in the PS4 NPL final series, and it's Edgeworth Eagles from Northern New South Wales, who at the moment lead 2-1 against Canberra Olympic. McLaughlin wins the ball in his first involvement and finds Dominici, who's in that advanced role. And he's running at the defence now. Stephen Dominici, this is what they want to see him do. Into the area, down he goes. And a corner is the outcome. Big shouts from the Canberra Olympic supporters. And bench on the far side. But without the benefit of our replay, we can't see it. But it looked like it was a reasonable challenge.
I thought so. I thought Olympic might have been a little bit lucky to get away with the free kick earlier in the move. But it certainly looked like a fair challenge in the penalty area.
Immediate impact for McLaughlin winning the ball in the centre of the park. Now he's on set-piece duties. Over on the far side. He's going to swing this one into the penalty. It's a good-looking one, too. The header comes in, and it was Clement McNee that won it at the near post, and he didn't quite get enough on it. Glanced off his head and is out for a throw-in. But rose well, the youngster. If he'd got a piece of that, Steve, it could have been interesting.
Nice set piece. Came in at pace. The boys won it well. Just needs to get it on target and a chance.
McBreen wins the header. Finds Sanders. Good touch from Sanders and opens the field up. Finding Bazari. McLaughlin ahead of him. Slides it through for Moore, who tries to get away from Clement McNee and settles for the corner in the end. In fact, Luke Withell says it came off the midfielder and gives a goal kick. Much to the chagrin of the bench over there. I'm sure they don't agree with that decision. It's getting to that stage where it feels like a proper cup tie now, though, Steve, where everyone's up for every decision.
Yes, yes.
It's going to be like that for the last 25 minutes or so.
Well, Olympic have nothing to lose now. It's either get back in the game or put the kid away and wait for next year.
Constantinu sends it forward. Challenge on halfway, and in the end it's prodded back by Evans. That's helped wide to McLaughlin from McBreen, and here's Aaron McLaughlin running at Bobolis. He does well to win the tackle. Tim Bobolis has been busy down that flank defensively. As Colbertaldo does well to get out of trouble. Classy play from Daniel Colbertaldo. Now he's asked a lot of Sekenis. And Wheeler's come across to defend diligently back to his goalkeeper. McBreen helps it on. Sanders almost got away then, and Rene blocked his run, and that was a good piece of defending from Rene to step across his path. Otherwise, the pacey striker was clear on goal, and as you saw, Sanders hauled him down. Concedes a free kick.
Yeah. Bernie Rene not blessed with a lot of pace, but certainly very clever.
Lovely touch from McBreen again, though.
Absolutely.
Showing his quality. Here's Clement McNee. Gillespie back to Bobolis. They'll start again. No real panic just yet. Here's Parascus. Sat up horribly for him. They try to get Sekenis into play, and it's going to break nicely for McBreen, who looks for the run of Sanders. He's got him in. Moore's made a run into the penalty area. McLaughlin's on the far post. Comes back to Bryce. Can he deliver? Chose not to. Gets it onto the left foot instead. And tries a much more difficult ball to find Bazari, who swings it into the air. McBreen's in there. Bounces around. Rene needs to be careful in his. And Sekenis helps it out to Catenacci. Interesting choice of ball there from Bryce. As Catenacci sweeps it to Dominici. Now then, a chance for Dominici. He's been freed from his shackles, and he's running into the penalty area here. Dominici twisting, looking to get the shot away. Still going, and that's really good defending, but took an age to get the shot away, didn't he?
Still waiting for a little spot. I think he was trying to look for a pass or a shooting opportunity, and eventually all avenues closed off.
Real misty rain now drifting across the ground. As Sanders, with the outside of the foot, looks for the run of McLaughlin. The flag stays down. McLaughlin's got in on Clement McNee. Here's a chance for the substitute. McLaughlin shoots into the side netting. Got himself into the position to bend the ball beyond Constantinu and then drifted it to the near post instead, and that's an opportunity wasted.
It was. He had the far post was wide open. It just passes it into the net of the far post. Game over for Olympic.
Well, Jeremy Habtemariam is going to come on. It's the end of Joshua Gillespie's night. Habtemariam, very pacey, direct and talented player. Like for like?
Very much so. And probably a little unlucky not to be in the starting 11.
But he's got 20 minutes or so to get his team back into this one if Olympic are going to stay alive. Remember, if they do score and we go to extra time, it'll be 15 minutes each way. And then the ABBA penalty shootout, where winner takes it all.
Oh, that's
terrible, isn't it? Been saving that one up just for you, Steve, all season.
Yeah, I thought you'd been working on it for a while.
Horrible, horrible call. I apologise profusely. Paraskas will take the throw. Katnach. Here's Sanders, who's operating from deep, and that's a lovely looking ball from McLaughlin, and Constantin who's come to get it though. Just prods it forward. Habtemariam's first involvement is to lose the ball to McBreen. Off he goes, past Bobolas, who sold himself a little bit. Chance in the middle, Moore's coming, but he's not got the height to trouble Constantinu, who gets us underway straight away with a throw out to Katnach. And McLaughlin, bit of space if they can get hold of this ball, but they can't. It's well read by Bazari, and he's kept going, Bazari, and he's still going the fullback, and he almost squeezed that ball into the middle towards Sanders, and he'll get a corner, but once again, good running from the left back.
There's certainly a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm in the Newcastle team. But the Olympic team will be a little disappointed in their pass completion rate because they're trying to play at 1,000,000 miles an hour when they've got time to actually just put a foot on it and just relax.
Well, they're going to have to be alert here because we've seen how good the Eagles are in the air, especially through their skipper who scored just before half-time. That delivery's not so good, though. It's going to come out, though, for Moore. Takes his time to go back. In fact, I think that's Holtz. Here's Bryce. This is Moore. Holtz is in support, and he's giving it to him. The build-up again is methodical, but they've caused issues throughout the evening. Evans. Languid sweep of that left leg and sends it out of play, and it's not the ball that his forwards were looking for.
Well, the great ironies of football that you can be patient and keep possession and look like you're the goods, and then suddenly it's a nothing ball to try and get in behind.
Cole Bataldo, runners left and right. He chooses Habtemariam. First chance for him to show what he's got. A couple of step overs, can't get the shot away though. And now he's beating the referee. Great bit of skill, but unfortunately loses out to a red-shirted player. Thought Wither was going to put the tackle in there, Steve, for a second. Cadnach way, way back inside his own half. Really need to get him into areas closer to the opposition goal. Looking for some options off the throw. There's not much movement for him though. Dominici tries to make an effort, but Wheeler's marked him well. McBreen, climb up knee. Rather slices that one, and he's past McLaughlin, and it's a bit of a lazy pass in towards Moore, but he's got it back. Looking to take on his marker again, and it's a goal kick.
Good tackle. A little bit of cramp setting in for young Bobolas, I think.
So a busy last couple of weeks, isn't he?
He has indeed. He was out for a little while with a fairly serious ankle injury, so these high-pressure games that have come one after the other will be, and I think it's good night, Tim.
We're going to see a change here for Eagles, and it looks like Lachlan Pasquale has done his run. For this evening, it's Adam Corley that's coming on into his place.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive Pasquale this afternoon.
Yeah, he's had a good game. Yeah, put in a good shift. But Bobolas was just getting a drink. He's staying on.
There's two changes now. McLaughlin and Corley have joined us for the Eagles, and of course Habtemariam and Tom McLaughlin for Olympic. Here's Dominici getting on the loose ball now. There's a player writhing in agony in the centre of the field. I think that's the skipper, Evans, who's claiming he got a knock to the face there. Definitely holding his face, and we'll stop the game just to see if he's all right. I think he copped one off of perhaps Dominici, was it?
No, it was Cadenet. I think he went. Yeah, I think if there was contact, it was accidental. It didn't look to be malicious.
Olympic rather sportingly give the ball back to Josh Lowe. He's been fairly unemployed this half, Josh Lowe, in terms of having saves to make, and Olympic need to make that difference if they're to get back into this one. Good win by Sanders. McBreen brings him back into play. Chance for him to swing that ball into the penalty area. Space for McBreen, brings it under with control, shoots brilliantly, and that is the mark of a top-class striker. Daniel McBreen possibly puts this one to bed with 15 minutes to play, plucked it out the air, dispatched it in the top corner. It's Olympic 1, Eagles 3.
That's a wonderful finish. Great ball in from Sanders. Wonderful first touch, sets it up, and the famous Daniel McBreen left foot popped it in with the pigeon's wrist.
Once he brought it down, there didn't seem to be any doubt, did there? There was no chance for Angelo Constantino in the Olympic goal, and it fairly nestled in the top corner. Top class finishing from Daniel McBreen. Puts the Eagles on their way, perhaps, to the semi-finals. South Hobart or Brisbane strikers will await them there unless Canberra Olympic have something special up their sleeves in the last 15 minutes. And as they push looking for goals to get back into this one, they could get caught on the break. Here's Sanders. He's looked lively throughout. They told us he was a player, and he certainly is.
You just want to be careful,
Holtz.
Olympic, that it's, throw caution to the wind completely. Just need to keep the back door shut. But they do need to press for the last 15 minutes and try and get something out of it.
It's Holtz to Wheeler. Finds Sanders, who slips. Holtz again. Every ball seems to be falling to a red shirt at the moment, and Bryce is flagged offside. Fair to say he doesn't agree with that decision by Adam Powers. It was right in front of him, though, looking across the line.
I think that's a little embarrassing because he should never get caught in an offside position there.
One more striker on the Olympic bench, of course. We've got Michael John there as well. They may throw him on, or Adrian Maycor, for the last 13 minutes or so. But they need something special and soon, and that's not it from Tom McLaughlin. That's asking a lot from Renee, and he can't keep it in. And that kind of unforced error is hurting Canberra Olympic at the moment.
That's poor. There's no other word to describe. That's poor from Tommy Mack.
Bryce is looking to take this throw. Gets it back from Moore. Good exchange of passes between the two, and Moore looking for some support. Nice turn of pace from Holtz. Danny goes under the challenge from Cole Pataldo. Possibly could have been a free kick. But it is Corley. Now Bazari. He swings that one in, looking for McBreen. It's too high for the score of the third goal, and Parascus gathers and wins to seam a throw-in. Robbie Katnach, noticeably, has moved right into the pointy end of the field now, Steve.
Yeah, going to Kenneth, Dominici, Katnach as a front three. I can imagine Boblis is going to bomb on. Up to Miriam's going to play forward. So a lot of responsibility now for Colbertaldo and McLaughlin in midfield.
Here is Katnach. Looking for Habta Merriam, gets it back. Now McLaughlin. You can see what he was trying there, but the execution wasn't good, and Wheeler picked it off. Now McBreen, it stuck to him like glue every time it's gone up there. Sanders looking for the run of McLaughlin, and Clement McNeese come across to win the header.
He's done well, the boy.
It's a third change, it looks, for the Eagles.
Looks like Michael John's readying himself as well for Olympic.
Let's see who they're going to take off here. Looks like Sanders, who's coming. He's worked really hard today, Kieran Sanders, and he opened the scoring, of course, early. It seems like an age ago now, doesn't it, in the 16th minute when he got on the end of that flick on from McBreen from that huge clearance. And it's not going to get any easier for Canberra Olympic, because coming on in his place is number 17, Kigo Moriasu, who's their top goal scorer.
Well, the boy that's gone off has done extremely well, and the boy that's bringing on is...
and this is a change. We're seeing Michael John come on for the fullback Parascus. So this really is throwing caution to the wind, isn't it? Now they've got another forward on.
Very dangerous, because the chief scorer comes on. You take another defender off Olympic, and this could blow out quite easily.
Well, I think it's, as you said, there's no point.
Yeah, you might as well go for it.
Yeah, no point die-wanting, is there, really, with 11 minutes to go. 3-1 to the Eagles. Moriasu, I guess he'd be a bit annoyed he's not starting, being the top goal scorer.
But, well, there may be very good reason for it. I mean, we don't see them during the week, do we?
Sure, someone from up in northern New South Wales can explain that for us. Maybe his Moore.
This boy's been good too.
First touch from Moriasu. Good delivery as well across the area. It's going to fall off of the McNee's knee. And under the challenge, McLaughlin goes down under there. And perhaps went down a little bit softly, and that's why he's not got the call. Here's John, looking to send that up the line. He does well to find Dominici, but he's a long way from goal. Rides the first one, goes past the second, who was Bryce. Holtz comes across to try and stop him. John's continued the run, but the pass from Dominici is just a little bit overhit.
Yeah, he did so well to retain possession and beat his man, and then undid it all with a poor delivery.
Kind of sums up the evening in terms of their possession, doesn't it? That little moment there.
Yeah, they do look a bit like a team that's lost a grand final last week, whereas Edgeworth looked like they're...
Well, just before McBreen scored, I was about to ask you whether Edgeworth, having gone into extra time last week, would be and having travelled to Canberra, would be the more tired side, but they've looked the more lively throughout most of the game. Here's John looking to give Olympic a lifeline. Getting into the penalty, but he's just tricked himself a little bit, just a bit too much. Hasn't played a lot of football of late, Michael John.
No, another one coming back from quite a serious knee injury.
Interesting fact about Michael John, he's actually played been involved in every squad that have qualified for FFA Cup since they started. He was with Tuggeranong United when you were in charge, didn't play, but he was in the squad. Then he was with Gungahlin United, played in that one, and then he was with Canberra Olympic. And played in both there, was involved in, didn't miss the first one, but was involved in the second.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Can't be many players around the country that have been involved at NPL level that have played in...
With different clubs.
Yeah, different clubs, 4 different FFA Cup campaigns.
The secret there is to sign him if you want to win the FA Cup in Canberra.
Absolutely. Kennis. Holtz has picked it up again. He's been everywhere today. Looking for Moriasu, and he lets that one run through, and whether by accident or design, it almost ran for Moore.
Well, Holt and Moore have been tremendous in midfield for the Eagles, there's no doubt.
And Pasquale before, as he was substituted as well. That midfield triumvirate between them have looked really, really good. Moore as the more advanced one of the 3, with Pasquale and Holtz holding, and now Adam Corley's in that role. Habtemariam, Renee, that's one by Moore. And Corley knocks it back to Holtz. Corley again. And Holtz swings it to Moriasu, and he's got a lot of room if he can keep this in. He's asking a lot though, and it's slid in, and he almost did very, very well there. Couldn't quite keep it in, and it's a goal kick, and we're into the last 7.5 minutes.
Well,
PS4 NPL finals.
Now or never for Olympic. To be honest, they haven't looked like scoring, but football's a funny game. If they can put some pressure on now, pinch one now, then the game is not lost.
It's won by Wheeler. Bobulus heads it away, but only as far as Moore. Under pressure from Habtemariam. Evans gets at the pitching wedge, clips it over the top to Bazari.
Puts in a good shift.
Swung in, McBreen comes in with a header, and he couldn't quite get enough on it, a bit like Clement McNee's effort at the other end. Great ball across, I think it was McLaughlin who swung that in there, and McBreen was unmarked. Couldn't get enough on the ball there.
He'll be disappointed, Danny McBreen. One of his strengths is in the air and powering headers home, and he was in a great spot to make that fall.
That really would have killed the game off.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Wheeler again, he's been imperious in the air for most of the game. McLaughlin, for a second, was almost in. And here's Tom McLaughlin for Olympic. Bobulus. Kennis. And now Habtemariam. Colbertalo to Cadnach, but it's run away from Cadnach, and Moriasu finds Bryce. Run from Moore, look at the room on the far side if he can find Aaron McLaughlin. But the flag goes up, and I think he just held onto the ball a little bit too long there. Moore should have released it a little bit earlier.
Yeah. It was, the pass just invited itself, doesn't it? But I mean, the forwards have got to look across the line and see that they're going offside.
Steve, I was going to ask you, how important was that goal right on half-time? It seems to have, in terms of the contest, it's put the ball very much in the court of the Eagles, and they've pushed on from there, haven't they? Well,
you go in at 1-1, you come out, you're still in the game at 2-1 just before half-time. Your half-time talk changes. You've got to try and lift the players again because they're a little disheartened, a little downhearted because they've conceded right on half-time. But your opponents get the lift that they've been looking for. And, you know, for that period, towards the end of the first half, Olympic had got themselves back into the game. So the Eagles were looking for a bit of a lift, and the skipper's been able to give it to them.
Renee.
So, you know, it might be 3-1 now, but it's the second goal that really was the killer.
Well, this time there's hope. Bryce has got that forward, though. Moriyasu helps it on its way. Moore looks to take on Renee. He'd be in the shout for man of the match, Keanu Moore, I think.
He's done really well, hasn't he?
Doesn't seem to run out of energy either, does he?
Ever-ready battery, isn't he?
Threat going forward and winning the ball back in defensive positions on the field. McBreen lost out to Habtemariam, who can't find Dominici. Bryce can't lift it over Clement McNee, and Tom McLaughlin brings it out to Cadnach. Sweeps it into the path of Dominici, who's got 3 or 4 yards on his marker here. It's a bit wide though. Here's John. Looks for the shots, deflected. It came off of Bryce, who was tracking back, and it took the sting out of it. I'm not sure it was going to trouble the keeper anyway.
No, I mean, you'd see what he was trying to do. He was trying to get it into that far post, but great ball from Cadanac to find Dominici. Dominici does well to find MJ, but at the end of the day, a reasonably tame finish.
Wheeler wins the header. Helped on its way. Moore finds Moriyasu. Lifts the ball over the top, looking for the runner, who's Corley. Maybe he used his hand there. No, says referee Luke Withell. Looked like a handball, didn't it? Yeah. Constantinu sends this one up towards the stand that we're sat in, which has been pretty much vacated at the start of the second half when the rain came down. Everyone's on the far side now.
There isn't a massive crowd on this side.
Not much more than us and the production team at the moment. But it's 3-1, 3.5 minutes to go. And Steve, you'd have to say the Eagles have been well worth this so far.
Yeah, 3-1. Although you can't say that it flatters Olympic. You wouldn't have been arguing if the Eagles had got 1 or 2 more.
They still might. There's plenty of time. And with Olympic throwing everything forward, there's bound to be an opportunity on the break. Here's McLaughlin to Habtemariam. They've turned over the ball, and opportunity perhaps to free McBreen on the penalty area. Moriasu's in the middle. This could be real trouble for Olympic. McBreen swings it in, and that was good covering defence from Clement McNee to get a foot on it and find Cole Bataldo.
Excuse me.
And Renee can bring it forward. He's giving it away again, though. And Evans tidies up with Wheeler. McLaughlin to Moore. Moriyasu, who's peeled wide again, hugging the touchline. Bryce. Moriyasu. Bryce to Moriyasu again. This time Michael John wins it. And Habtemariam frees Sekenis. Looks to find Cadnach. Half a chance this perhaps for Olympic as Cadnach goes past his marker. Still going Robbie Cadnach up towards the edge of the area, but superb tackle in the end. On the edge of the area, I think it was Holtz back there. And here's a chance at the other end, and Renee needs to come across, and the flag's gone up against Moriyasu.
You know, in that run forward from Robbie Cadanac there, 6 weeks ago, you put in your house on the ball being in the back of the net, but he never looked like having that ball on the controller going past a man.
Defensively, they've been very solid. We did talk about them defensively in the first half. When they conceded the equaliser, they were rattled for 5 minutes.
Yes, they were.
But they rediscovered their composure, and now here's McBreen. He's through on goal. This could seal it. Daniel McBreen, a chance to put his team into the semi-finals, and he confidently slots it past Constantinu. A second of the afternoon for Daniel McBreen, and the Eagles are flying all the way to either South Hobart or Brisbane Strikers.
Yeah, and comprehensive victory, and there's no doubt that they've been the better team tonight. Magnificent composure on the ball. He didn't panic, did he, when he got away? He's had a look up and just placed it beautifully into the bottom corner. And Olympic season comes to an end with a defeat against the Eagles, but they can be justifiably proud of what they've achieved this year. There are another 2 trophies in the cabinet, but they've been outclassed tonight.
Well, they'll look to strengthen again in the summer and come back again next season and give this one another crack if they can. They've certainly not been disgraced despite the scoreline. As we said earlier, that goal was likely to come with them looking for a way back into the match, as unlikely as it may have been. And when McBreen got in, there was never really any doubt that he was going to tuck it away. Absolute quality finish. Here's Moore.
We shouldn't forget that, you know, Megic, Nicky Bobolis,
Yarnold, Yanes,
have all missed
Cal Smith.
tonight's game, and that may well have made a big difference to how Olympic approached the game.
Well, yeah, for those of you that don't usually watch football in Canberra, Nathan Megic, Nick Bobolis and Phil Yarnold are generally the three of the back four that Olympic put out, and all three of them out today, and even the backup, Josh Calabria, and is missing as well. So defensively, they've been a bit shorn, but they've been outclassed, to be fair.
Yeah, they have. They have. I mean, they've struggled manfully. They haven't given up. But at the end of the day, our visitors to Canberra have been much too good. And it's incidents like that, where they've given the ball away cheaply, that'll disappoint Olympic more than anything else.
Well, whether they're staying here tonight or whether they're back on the bus for a long trip to Newcastle, I'm sure there'll be celebrations galore for the boys from Edgeworth Eagles and for everybody at the club at Northern New South Wales. I'm sure they'll look forward to probably their first home semi-final, their first home game in the NPL final series, because they've got 4 goals here today, and the away goals, of course, count extra this year. And you think that's going to give them a chance to have a first ever home semi-final. And they tell me that Damien Zane beforehand was telling me he reckoned if he had got a home final there, they'd pack it out. So there's a challenge laid down to the fans for Northern New South Wales football and Edgeworth to get out there next week if you're at home and support your team. And you've got a cracking team out here, so they're well worth the support. Yeah,
it'd be worth the price of an entry to go and see them. And I think it would be, you know, no matter who they're playing, whether it's Brisbane Strikers, who I think were ancestrally at least linked with the National League club in the old NSL, or whether it's South Hobart, who have been the powerhouse in Tasmania for a few years, you're going to get to see a decent game.
As we enter stoppage time, that ball's hoiked forward towards Danny McBreen. He'll chase after it, 2 goals. He's on a hat-trick, of course. Renee's with him. The ball's just hooked into the middle. We'd be remiss of me to say, Steve, that we've got memories of South Hobart. You were the head coach. I was your assistant when Tuggeranong United were there in the FFA Cup. And great times we had down there with a penalty shootout win. So don't know how that game's going with Brisbane Strikers, but should be a cracker.
Well, certainly the hospitality we were exposed to in Hobart was fantastic, and really great memories. But I think if Hobart are going to Newcastle, they can expect the same thing.
Absolutely.
And if it happens to be Brisbane Strikers, then you've got the sort of New South Wales-Queensland rivalry to cash in on as well.
And alongside the FFA Cup, great concept this by the FFA for the final series to bring the champions of all the states together.
Yeah. I think it's even more so now that it's a random draw rather than a fixed fixture.
Well, here's John looking to give Olympic something to cheer towards the end. McBreen will get after this. Renee will chase it back towards Constantinu.
He knows he's been in a game tonight, doesn't he, Bernie Renee?
He certainly has. There wouldn't have been many strikers he's played against that have been as strong or as quick or as as agile as Danny McBreen, and tiredly he gives that one away.
He'll love you for saying that, you know.
Bryce throws it towards the striker and he brings it down, looks to hook it into the penalty area. The challenge comes in from Cordy, lays it back to Moore, who strikes it low, and Constantinu has to be on his toes to get there. And referee Luke Whittle says that's enough of that. And congratulations to Edgeworth Eagles, who, on the night, Steve, more than worth their win.
Yeah, I echo your congratulations. They were more than a handful for Olympic to deal with. 4-1, could have been more. But that's a fairly accurate reflection of the way the game went. From go to woe, they were the better team. They played the better football. They've worked harder. They've been more enthusiastic. They've taken their goals well. Olympic did get themselves back into the game at 1-1, and that might have been able to kick on. Had they been able to get into the sheds at 1-1, it might have been a little bit different. But we might be clutching at straws as well. But 2-1 down at half-time was a heartbreaker. And I think you've turned it before, Amy, the coach killer, when it's that close to half-time. But they never really recovered, and in the end, 2 second-half goals have seen Edgeworth Eagles comfortably through.
Quick note on the 2 youngsters that came into the back four for Olympic today. Dimitri Paraskos playing at left back, and Jackson Clement McNee, central defence. Didn't look out of place, really, did they?
No. Both started a little shakily, but as they got more and more confident as the game progressed, they looked better and better. And certainly Clement McNee, I thought, had quite a decent game. Paraskos probably struggled a little bit throughout the game because of the standard of the opposition, but he didn't disgrace himself. But the other boy, I think, has done very well.
Thanks very much for your company, Steve. Been
My
a pleasure
pleasure.
sitting next to you in the commentary box here, and thanks everybody for watching this broadcast. Eagles took the lead early on with a long clearance from Josh Lowe, which was flicked on by Daniel McBreen, and Kieran Sanders finished beautifully. For a while, it looked like they were going to run away with it, but John Sekenis pulled Olympic back into it. But the killer was on half-time. Josh Evans, the skipper, getting up high enough to win a header from a free kick to put his team 2-1 up at the break. And then two pieces of absolute quality from Daniel McBreen in the second half, finishing to go 3-1 and then 4-1 in the closing stages. The Eagles are the team that will march on to the semi-finals of the PS4 NPL final series. We've had a great evening here at Deakin Stadium, where it's finished Canberra Olympic 1, Edgeworth Eagles 4. That one forward, that's a huge kick, looking for McBreen to flick on, and Sanders has got him behind here. Real chance here for Kieran Sanders in on goal. Opportunity for Edgeworth, and they lead. Beautifully finished. Real chance here for Gillespie breaking in on goal. Opportunity for Sekenis, he must score, and he has. And Canberra Olympic are back level. John Sekenis, who scored both goals in the McBreen. Maybe that will be the target. It's into the penalty area, and the header's in, and it's a great header too. And it's a fantastic goal, and it's a captain's goal from Josh Evans. Chance for him to swing that ball into the penalty area. Space for McBreen, brings it under his control, shoots brilliantly, and that is the mark of a top-class striker. Daniel McBreen, possibly. Now here's McBreen, he's through on goal. This could seal it. Daniel McBreen, a chance to put his team into the semi-finals, and he confidently slots it past Constantinou. A second of the afternoon for Daniel McBreen.
Australia lead magnificently. 10-point cross again from the corner. And This is your stage.